the teacher asked the kid, why are you always praying in class? And he says, well, my mom always told me I have to pray before going to sleep. Your professor will get a kick out of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's even evolved in the last 20 years. I think of the kinds of comedy that first appeared on TV, or the sort of Benny Goodman kind of humor, or Lucille Ball. I think it was sort of slapstick. It was based upon particular stereotypes that existed at the time, both in gender and in race. Most of that has gone away. Humor now is not nearly as slapstick as it used to be, and it is not nearly so divisively based. The humor there, I think, is more about surprise, that what makes children laugh is seeing something unexpected. And so we try to be silly, make faces, have things disappear and then come back, do things that are counterintuitive. I mean, granddaughter's a year and a half, but I've got a grandson who's 4.5. And he will laugh when we deliberately get things wrong. When he asks a question, we say something that is quite deliberately what he knows not to be true, and he finds that really funny. So I think the essence of humor for a lot, and that's even true for all of us, is to hear someone say something that catches us off guard and wasn't what we were expecting to come next. And it may be that we don't expect it because it violates a social norm. That's South Park, right? I mean, that's the humor of South Park.
Though some people may think that the profession of medicine is very serious, more than once I've used humor as a therapeutic tool in order to help somebody cope or balance the seriousness of life. Humor has positive effects on the immune system that are well established, and in that respect, humor could be seen as a treatment in terms of decreasing disease prevention. Perhaps positive thinking can have such positive effect on the immune system that it could be associated with stopping a disease process from starting in the first place. It's well known that when people are feeling at ease and when they laugh, that they elaborate positive chemicals called endorphins that also have a positive effect on the immune system. In that respect, I've learned that the mind and body are hardly separable, and anything that has a positive effect on the mind generally has a positive effect on the body. In fact, there's well-known studies showing an effect on vascular tone, so that blood pressure can be treated with cognitive therapy, and often we use humor in various forms of cognitive therapy.
Humor isn't just a form of entertainment. It has been shown to have actual psychophysiological benefits to the body. Psychologically, there is a possibility of reduced anxiety, stress, tension, and loneliness, while physiologically, humor and laughter have been shown to improve mental functioning, strengthen the body's natural immune system, and increase the production of endorphins, among a slew of other benefits. Researchers have examined the role of humor among older populations, measured in terms of how it affects coping efficacy, health, and life satisfaction. It was found that people under the age of 50 had the greatest humor orientation, while people over the age of 75 had the lowest humor orientation. Those with greater humor orientation reported greater coping efficacy, which was also strongly tied to greater life satisfaction. Another study examined the correlation between personal and social factors and health among older adults. The results showed that coping humor and self-efficacy contributed the most to outcome variance in mental health status, while other factors such as social support and spirituality had no contribution.
Usually when I come into a room to talk to a patient, they'll make a joke, or the nursing staff will joke with them about how I'm so young and why am I there talking to them.
Well, I always joke with my grandma that she is me in just a different body. I'm 21 but have the mind of a 75-year-old, and she's 75 with the mind of a 21-year-old. My friends probably would rather hang out with her, and she takes Jello shots while I just kind of like monitor her. So that's kind of like my funny story with my grandma.
Can you jokes she makes are like jokes about like being cheap? Like, yeah, or like being stingy. It's funny because her only source of income is Social Security, so she kind of jokes about that.
Mostly just like makes fun of us, I think, for the most part. She always, whenever I speak, she speaks Tamil, and whenever I speak Tamil to her, she's like, just please speak English because I can't understand you.
I don't know if that's a joke.
It's like kind of a joke. It's like funny. She laughs when she says it. Yeah. I don't know. She's a goon. That's really all I have to say about my grandma.
Wow. I really didn't know my grandparents all that well, only one of them. And the one who I did get to know well had a very self-deprecating sense of humor. She was pretty funny. My grandfather had more or less zero sense of humor. He was a very sort of austere fellow, kind of liked it that way.
When I'm using humor in the room with somebody in their later stage of life, I need to be sensitive to all sorts of issues so that I make sure that I don't offend somebody or don't elaborate bigger defense mechanisms and make the situation more difficult. Humor can also be a diagnostic tool in the elderly, in that if my elderly patient is laughing at times where, that would be hard to see any humor, or if they're laughing indiscriminately, if they're using sarcasm and offending people wherever they go, sometimes that's a clue to early dementia or other disease processes. So laughter is a therapeutic tool, laughter can be a diagnostic tool, and laughter can be a humane way of joining and making my patients feel at ease.
He got pretty pissed, and he's walking home, and he goes into the church. He walks up the step of the Catholic Church and goes in the church, and he goes in the confession booth, and he's sitting there, and of course the priest is on the other side, eh? Mm-hmm. And there's nothing happens for about 30 seconds or 40 seconds. Pretty soon the priest he gives 3 knocks on the wall like that, and old Patty on the other side, he says, "Oh,